So here we go. Chapter 8, as we begin, we're going to talk about exponents and how to use them, manipulate them, and work with them all chapter. If you don't have your calculator out, please get it out. We're going to use it at some point today. The first idea that we're going to talk about today is exponents of 0, and then we're going to talk about exponents that are negative. So, as we start this, flip forward to page 8. And I want to show you something that's going to be written on page 8. So flip forward to page 8. You guys are pretty good at exponents. So let's just think with me. What does it mean when I say 2 to the 4th? 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. So 2 to the 4th means 2 times 2 itself, and you get 16. All right. Now let's do 2 to the 3rd. That's 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. Okay? Now let's do 2 squared. That's 2 times 2, which is 4. So far, everything's pretty straightforward, right? I want you to look at patterns. What's the pattern of the exponents? They're going what? Down by 1. What's the pattern of the answers? Down by a factor of 2. Okay? 2 to the 1st is what? 2. Now, here's where you need to extrapolate and then come up with a deduction and a conclusion just based on the patterns. Now, as God has created math and given us this language of math, He's created us the ability to make systems that are logical. Okay? Our logical system then, bring it down by 1. Divide by 2, you get 8. Divide by 2, you get 4. Divide by 2, you get 2. Divide by 2, you get 1. So therefore, we can conclude that 2 to the 0 is 1. For that matter, Drew, anything to the 0 is 1. Okay? And that's a new law that we have. Anything to the 0 is 1. Now let's keep going. What's below 0? Negative 1. Divide by 2 and you get half. Interesting. Divide by 2 again and you get a quarter. Remember, 4 is 2 squared, right? Divide by 2 again, and you get an 1/8. Realize that's 1 over 2 squared, that's 1 over 2 cubed. And let's do the last one. Divide by 2 again, and you get 1 over 16, which is 1 over 2 to the 4th. And so a little idea here, a negative exponent on the top becomes a what exponent on the bottom? A positive. Does this pattern make sense? All right. Slide back to page 5. Yes, sir.
So basically, we get 0.
We're going to do a lot of, you'll get some, but, all right. I'm going to try to leave this over here so it's on the screen as well. All right, so let's take a look at our notes here, basically on what we just learned with this pattern on the right. 2 to the 0 is 1. 4.5 to the 0 is 1. 1/4 to the 0 is 1. Negative 67.875 to the 0 is 1. For that matter, anything, any number to the 0 is 1. Anything, it doesn't matter. All right, second idea. Any number to a negative exponent is 1 over that same number to the positive exponent. And I probably should have written this fraction in a vertical format. And that's what we were talking about over here is the sample. So as my example, this is 1 over 2 to the 4th. This is 1 over negative 6 squared. Did you notice I kept the parentheses there? And this is 1 over x cubed. A negative exponent in the top, Noah, just goes to the bottom and becomes a positive exponent. Now let's kind of finish those out. Once again, what is 2 to the 4th on the first one then? 16, good, so that's 1 over 16. What's negative 6 squared?
36.
36, that's 1 over 36. And then 1 over x cubed. Okay?
It's negative 6,
Right, so it's negative 6 times negative 6. So that's 1 over just 36.
No.
Yes, sir?
So, we don't solve it and put, like, we're 1 over 8 at the bottom, we're 1 over 16.
Well, I'm trying to show you how you get there. The blue is kind of the middle step. The red would be the answer. But you need to understand a positive exponent on the bottom becomes a negative exponent on the top, and vice versa. That's the idea. The main principle for today is exponents of 0 and exponents that are negative. This is all we're really covering. So, let's look at these examples at the bottom. It says, an expression is in simplest form when it's written with only positive exponents. So the expectation here, Luke, is that all of your answers are going to always have positive exponents. No negative exponents in your answers. So here we go. Our first one, 5 to the negative 2. A negative exponent, we just learned, goes to where? The bottom, and becomes positive. So 1 over 5 squared. If you want to change that to 1 over 25, perfectly fine to do that, John. Next one. What's being raised to the negative 2? Negative 5 in parentheses, right? So the whole parentheses goes to the bottom. So put that whole parentheses to the bottom and make it to the positive exponent. Well, negative 5 times negative 5 is 25. Same answer, but a hugely different start to the problem. Yes, sir?
Could the top one be an answer to, or would you like just to simplify it?
Probably simplify it, yeah. But show me how you got there. Okay? Now, I put part C on here because we want to ask a very specific question, which I'm actually going to write out. What is being affected by the negative 4? What part of 5x to the negative 4th is being affected by that negative 4? Just the x. Excellent. Okay. Just the x, Brett says. So, this 5 isn't being affected. It's really 5 times x to the negative 4. So which portion goes to the bottom? Just the x. Where do you think that 5 stays? On the outside, or effectively on top. Because outside is really on top, right? Good call, Luke. So the 5 stays up top because it has a positive exponent. The x goes to the bottom because it has a negative exponent. No, is that clicking? And that's your simplest form. You can't make that any easier. All right, let's look down here. A couple more examples.
So,
See,
is it 5 that's being affected, or the x?
that just the x is being affected by the exponent. Because exponents affect what directly is in front of them. Let's look here. A to the negative 4. Guess where the a goes? To the bottom. Very good. It becomes positive. What about that c to the 0? Goes on the top. But I heard someone say, who said it? Jalan said c to the 0 is 1. So make it a 1. And you're done. 1 and done.
So when you have 2 exponents, the second one goes on top?
No. The exponent affects what directly is in front of it. That's 2 different problems combined into one. The c is affected by the 0. The negative 4 affects the a. You got to look at what's in front of it.
I'm just saying, like, the second one, that goes on top.
No. Well, it depends what it is. Depends what it is. All right, let's look at this. X to the negative 5. It's a negative. So Sam, where does it go? To the bottom. Okay? All right, next one. Ryan, y to the negative 9. It's a negative. Where does it go? Bottom. Wait a minute. I don't have anything in the top. If there's nothing there, Luke's got it. He's putting up a 1. So if there's nothing left in the top, stick a 1 up there. So is it possible that nothing could move to the bottom? Yes. Is it possible that everything could move to the bottom? Yes. Maybe only part of it moves to the bottom, and part of it stays on top. All right, let's look at the next one. This is really 3 problems. I'll circle the first one. 2 to the negative 3rd. Goes where? Bottom. X to the 2nd. Top. V to the negative 3. Bottom. Now, I don't necessarily, Kyle, want to leave my answer in this form because I have a number. What's 2 times 2 times 2? 8. Very good. So let's write our answer. Simplest form, x squared over 8v cubed. Negative exponents, go to the bottom and become positive. Why? Because it has to follow the pattern. Has to follow that pattern that we kind of established here. This is good to understand the why. All right?